Do you know who Rod Temperton is?
What can you tell these guys about Rod Temperton? Who he was and what his importance is?
Where do I start with this guy?
I used to call him Rod the God. Why? Rod, he would compose day and night. Day and night.
Wow. Rod Temperton did good.
From Boogie Nights to Thriller, the film follows Rod Temperton's meteoric rise from gutting cod at Grimsby Fish Market to teaming up with legendary producer Quincy Jones and laying the foundation for Michael Jackson's solo career, among many others. The script starts with an African-American couple buying a newspaper from an LA newsstand and learning of Rod's death in September 2016. The couple reads the article about Rod, nicknamed the Invisible Man in the music industry due to always keeping a low profile, before deciding the Englishman didn't do anything they would have known. The scene cuts to the couple in earlier stages of their life, first meeting in the club while dancing to Rock With You, then getting married to Always and Forever, and finally singing along to Give Me The Night with their child in the family car. As the couple walks out of shot, the scene transitions to 1982 and Rod is introduced with him famously writing a rap to Thriller in the back of a taxi.
Darkness falls across the land.
Just as Vincent Price arrives at the studio to record it.
Creatures crawl in search of blood.
After establishing several of his songs along with his importance and mystery, the film subsequently tells a linear story of Rod's life and career, backtracking to Cleethorpes in England in 1974. Working as a fish gutter at Grimsby Fish Market and playing organ with a local band, Rod answers an advert he spots in Melody Maker magazine. The advert, placed by Heatwave frontman Johnny Wilder Jr., simply reads, "Soul band needs keyboard player." The position involves moving to Germany, and the story picks up in the town of Worms, where Rod starts playing cover songs with the band Heatwave. The soul band soon start recording their own music, and their debut album, Too Hot to Handle, was released in 1976, including the huge hits Always and Forever and Boogie Nights. After the success of Heatwave's second album, Central Heating, in 1978, producer Quincy Jones contacts Rod about writing on what would become Michael Jackson's Off the Wall.
I took a chance with a composer that I had loved his work for a long time.
Rod flies out to LA and writes and records demos for 3 songs that would all feature on the album.
In the backseat was this exhausted-looking dude in a wrinkled trench coat. His eyes were red-rimmed with fatigue, and he was staring into space. A Marlboro cigarette with a 3-inch ash was dangling from his lower lip. Now that was my first impression of Rod Temperton.
We recorded Burn This Disco Out, Off the Wall, and Rock With You.
At the end of the fruitful weekend, an impressed Quincy asked Rod if he'd be interested in writing songs for every project he was working on, including the likes of Shaka Khan, the Brothers Johnson, and Quincy's own album, The Dude.
He's got a gift that is, really, really rare. I think Rod is one of the greats.
Rod Temperton is different from anyone else I've ever known. They call Rod Temperton the Invisible Man.
He's like an invisible shadow over the whole music business, the whole culture. He's just interwoven in so many ways that we don't even know.
The triumvirate of producer Quincy Jones, engineer Bruce Swedeen, and songwriter Cleethorpes' very own Rod Temperton were now the A-Team. Next on their hit list was George Benson.
The story also follows Rod's collaborations with Aretha Franklin and Donna Summer, and his multiple nominations at the 1981 Grammy Awards, before tragedy strikes. Heatwave frontman and close friend Johnny Wilder Jr. is paralyzed from the neck down in a car accident in his hometown in Ohio.
Somebody ran the stop sign. Broadside, just the stop sign was down.
Meanwhile, back in the UK, Rod's mother Ida has some devastating news that she tries her hardest to keep from her overworked son in America. The story's love interest, Rod's future wife Kathy, is also introduced in the film at this stage. The rest of the movie focuses on the making of the Thriller album and Rod's involvement as a songwriter and member of Quincy's top table team, along with engineer Bruce Svedian.
Quincy turned to us and said, "Okay, guys, we're here to get the kids out of the video arcades and back into the record stores."
Rod went on to compose a third of Thriller's final track list, including, once again, the album's title track.
The next morning I woke up and I just said this word. Something in my head just said, this is the title. You could visualize it on the top of the Billboard charts. You know, you could see the merchandising for this one word, how it jumped off the page. So I knew I had to write it as Thriller. And I wrote all the words very quickly, then went to the studio and we did it.
Alongside this, we learn how other songs like Billie Jean and PYT came about. We see Eddie Van Halen famously setting a speaker ablaze while recording his solo for Beat It. And we experienced the disappointment of the disastrous first official listening get-together with record bosses. The album's over-long running time caused serious sound issues with the vinyl test press, so the team had to ask for 10 more days to trim and remix every song. The script follows the enormous global success of Thriller, following its release in late 1982.
It was a great headline and I've still got it. Grimsby Fish Filleter reels in fortune for Wacko Jacko.
Side stories include the end of Heatwave, Ida's situation, and Rod's blossoming affair with Kathy. The film ends with an epilogue about the main characters' lives and a final scene set in 2019 when a blue plaque was unveiled in Rod's hometown several years after his death, in a touching ceremony attended by his widow Kathy and an elderly Quincy Jones.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The uniqueness about Rod is that he is just the same as he was before he was successful. He's just a really, really nice guy, as well as being possibly one of the top pop geniuses of our time.
And we are very different personalities, but we clicked. We've been together ever since, and I love him to death.
I've never, ever enjoyed working with anybody more. He covers my back, you know. I'll do anything for him, you know. He's a very special man.
The Invisible Composer is a fun, music-driven film for the whole family, but more aimed at mum and dad. Parents get to decide cinema night while this one's showing. For a relatively small budget, this could be one of the films of the year. Contact me for more information.